Alright, guys, so let's head on to our next topic of the conversation, and that is the UFC Lightweight division. Dana, UFC, what's going on, man? What is the holdup? I mean, I realize that you guys are waiting for a big fight, a big payday, adding some dollar signs to the business bottom line. But you know what? Like, come on, man. Stop, stop waiting for Khabib. I mean, he's been saying this multiple times that he has no intention to come back. That he's retired. He wants to take some time off. I don't understand why. Well, I understand, which is the money. Essentially, these guys are just trying to make money. You know what? I believe that Dana White and UFC should back off Khabib just for a bit, give him some time to breathe instead of just, hey, come back, hey, come back, hey, come back, fight Conor, fight Conor. There are more fighters in the UFC lightweight than Conor. Like this guy right here, Micheal Chandler. Micheal Chandler, he's been a beast. He's been competing for a very long time. He's a former champion from Bellator. He's a multi-champion. And then you have Justin Gaethje. He's riding a massive fight streak as well until he run to, of course, as we know, Khabib, Khabib's been beating everybody. And then we have Dustin Poirier, which he's lost in the last who knows how long, is to Khabib as well. And on top of that, Charles Olivera. That guy's he's been on a tear. He's on like an 8-fight win streak. And this guy right here, of what we're looking at right now, he cannot get a title shot. Come on, man. I realized that Conor McGregor, he is the biggest name in sports and I'm gonna say mixed martial arts, not in sport, because there are a lot of guys that are bigger than him when it comes to popularity. But when it comes to mixed martial arts, when it comes to fighting, Conor McGregor, he is 100% the top of the food chain. And when there's a Conor McGregor pay-per-view, it sells. Essentially, it sells because people would like to see Conor McGregor fight and compete. I realize that he have a lot of haters and he does have a lot of support as well. But that is what is fun about this. It's just the fact that he is drawing from both sides, from the people that hates him and also from the people that loves him. And that's what makes Conor like the person he is, the fighter that he is. But let's just get back to the original discussion here, the UFC lightweight division. Let's take Khabib out of the equation. Okay? And also the other person that I would like to take out the equation is that Conor McGregor, but you guys, Conor McGregor will never be out of the UFC title conversation. Because, well, he's Conor McGregor, essentially. It is what it is. He's Conor McGregor. Despite the fact of a record of 1-2 in lightweight, he will always be in the conversation of the UFC title fight. I mean, his one win was a big one, and that was against Eddie Alvarez to make him the UFC first ever two-division simultaneous champion. And that really propel him to the Floyd Mayweather fight, and that really propelled him to like the next level of stardom. So Conor McGregor with the UFC lightweight, he's not going anywhere. Well, not anytime soon. I realize that age, Father Time will catch up to all of us. And right now, despite his loss, he just lost to Dustin Poirier. There are multiple conversations of Dustin Poirier versus Conor McGregor for the third time, because as for now, these two guys, these two fighters, they are sitting at 1-1, and the conversation is that the next fight, the third fight, to snap the rubber match, there might be a title online, and that is the UFC lightweight title. Holy smokes, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? As of right now, in my personal opinion, the two men that should be competing for the vacant title, which is vacant by Khabib Nurmagomedov, and those two guys are Dustin Poirier versus Charles Olivera. That's it. I mean, Dustin Poirier, the last person that he lost to was the former undisputed champion. There's no shame in that. And he has previously fought Justin Gaethje, which a match that he won. And you know what, guys? I have to go with Dustin Poirier with this one right here. It's just the fact that I also believe that Micheal Chandler, he has not earned his keep within the UFC. And I like Micheal Chandler as a fighter, but also I also believe that Charles Olivera, he's been in the UFC for that much longer. When it comes to earning, when it comes to when it comes to a person that has put in his time within the UFC, within the octagon, I would like to see the two fighters that I just mentioned, and that is Charles versus Dustin. But however, on a flip side, on the other side, Dustin Poirier, he did mention that he believed that he is the champ right now, which I am not even going to argue against that. I believe as right now in the UFC Lightweight division, Dustin Poirier, he is the champ, and the number one contender to his title, it should be Charles Olivera. Number 2, Dustin Poirier, and number 3 is Justin Gaethje. But however, Dustin Poirier, he is at that level. He's at that next stage of his level where the UFC title, it means a lot to him, but it doesn't mean as much as it used to. And this is the reason why I say that. He did mention that if he have the option of picking between fighting for the UFC title or fighting Conor McGregor for the third time, he will pick the Conor McGregor fight. And money, essentially the financial incentive. And you guys, I cannot blame him for that. Like who could possibly blame him for that? For choosing to fight Conor McGregor the third time, and within his second fight, the fight that he just fought, you know what? He made that look easy. And it seems like the additional mass that Dustin Poirier added to his frame. Conor McGregor's shot did not affect him like it did when he competed at featherweight, and I realized that is many years ago, and that's a 2 different division. The frame of Dustin, of how he looks right now compared to who he did back then, he looks thick. He had on, like, this is just an eye test. It seems like he had on an additional like 20 to 25 pounds to give him the advantage at the lightweight division, and I don't know how he cut to the featherweight like he did before, like the guy's jack right now. Yeah, so that is my thought on the UFC lightweight division. I mean, I'm gonna say this again. I believe that Dustin Poirier is the champ without the belt, and there's only 2 possible fights for him next. Is that Conor McGregor for the money, Charles Olivera for the undisputed title because Khabib is retired, and in a dream scenario, this is my dream scenario, is that if they can make Dustin Poirier versus Conor McGregor number 3 and make that for the lightweight title. Could you just imagine? In that situation, I believe that Dustin Poirier would have the best of both worlds. Make that the main event, and in the co-main event, make Justin Gaethje versus Micheal Chandler as the co-main event, and have Charles Olivera as a backup fighter, just in case one of the fighter in the main event drop out. Let's say if doesn't drop out, Charles will step in, Conor step out, drop out, Olivera will step in, and it's just the fact that I realized that Charles, he said he does not want to compete into UFC Octagon again unless it's for the title. And if you can make him a backup fighter on a Conor McGregor's card, and you know what, anyone that is a backup fighter in a Conor McGregor card, in a Conor McGregor's card, they will be taken care of financially. And at the end of the day, guys, these guys, they are prize fighter, and I'm pretty sure that the UFC will give Charles a nice amount of money, a nice incentive, because that's what they did with Derek Lewis. When Derek Lewis stepped in on a short notice fight to fight against Daniel Cormier, I believe for that fight, for a disclosed purse for that fight, I believe that the UFC gave Derek Lewis $500,000, and that just to show he did not receive any win bonus, because well, he didn't win, but I'm fairly certain that he also got a bit of a kickback at the end as well, and the UFC has been known to do that. I'm going to use my example that I am going to use is that Daniel Cormier, he was on DC and Helwani, was on one of the episodes that he did mention when he fought John Jones for the second time. I believe he made $500,000, but in his previous fight, when he fought for the UFC light heavyweight title for the second time versus, don't quote me on this, I believe Alexander. No, it's okay. Well, regardless, it's his second fight, or it's when John Jones got stripped and he's fought Alexander Gustafsson. I believe that's who he fought, Alexander Gustafsson, and he fought him and he won. And he said that if the UFC gave him his fight salary and what was disclosed, and also an additional amount to bring up his total amount for the fight night to $1 million. And then when he fought and lost to John Jones, he also mentioned that the UFC gave him an additional money that will bring up his total pay for that fight to a flat of $1 million. So yeah, so that's what happened with Daniel Cormier. I realized that Daniel, he is a businessman, he is a company man, but I don't see why the UFC cannot do that with the rest of the roster as well. And if if Charles steps up, I can see them as in the UFC give Charles a good amount of money to be a backup fighter. And at the end of the day, I think that is just gonna be a fun fight regardless of who wins. But I am really biased in this situation. I am gonna pick Dustin if they fought again for the third time, and I am gonna pick Charles Olivera if one of the two main event fighters does drop out. If it's Charles versus Dustin, I'm picking Charles. If Charles versus Conor, I'm picking Charles, because I believe that he is the second best fighter in UFC Lightweight right now, Lightweight division, excluding Khabib, because he is retired. Number one, this is my opinion, number one is Dustin Poirier, number two, Charles, number three, Micheal Chandler, number four, Justin Gaethje, and number five is Tony Ferguson, and Conor McGregor is number six. He's just right below the number six. Okay. So that is, after that, I'm going to bring an end to this conversation of the UFC Lightweight. I just told you guys who I would like to see fight next and compete next. And you guys, once again, if you have not, please comment, rate, and subscribe. I would love to hear from you guys. And yeah.